Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your August 2019 general reading. We are looking at the last half of August 2019. Can you believe it's August already? Thanks to everyone for being here. Welcome to anybody new, first-timers, newcomers. Welcome back to followers and subscribers. Thanks for taking the time to tune into this channel, for sending in all your support, feedback, and comments for those of you who do, and all of your likes, shares, and subscribes. Always a pleasure. Thank you. And I particularly love reading how the readings resonate for those of you both in the comment section and those of you who take the time to send them in to my email. And always a big note of gratitude to all of my clients out there, regular and new, for keeping me always so busy with personal readings. I always say it's an honor and a pleasure to read for you, and it is. I am always conscious of the trust that it takes to have someone read for you. And for being any small part of your journey, thank you for that. And for so many of you returning time and time again. If any of you out there are interested in scheduling a personal reading with me, you can click on the description link below for more information and contact details. My hair is driving me crazy today. Click on the description link below for more contact details, or you can email me directly at maggie1mcguire@gmail.com. I'd be delighted to work with you. I offer a wide variety of readings in all the main areas of life, and I can usually respond to your initial inquiry with more info the same day or within the first 24 hours. And scheduling is pretty good too. I know it's often a challenge that I hear about trying to set up a reading with readers and psychics within a time frame where what you want to look at is still relevant. But I'm quite blessed to be able to do readings full-time, which is what I do full-time, 6 to 7 days a week. It is all that I do. So I'm pretty diligent at working with everyone's schedules and my own to set up readings as quickly as possible. So email me if you're interested, and we'll go from there. All right, moving right into the reading. This is for the Earth sign of Virgo for the remainder of August 2019. Virgo for the remainder of 2019. Sorry, for the remainder of August 2019. Watch your other signs if you know them. It can be helpful with additional information, or sometimes they can play out a little more predictably for you than your sun sign at different times. Rising sign, moon sign, Venus sign. Watch them if you know them. Okay, Virgo, let's see what the last half of August has in store for you. We begin with the Devil, followed by the Four of Swords. We have the Four of Pentacles, followed by Temperance. From the bottom of the deck, overall energy, focus, guidance, and or the challenge is the Queen of Swords. So for many of you, the Queen of Swords represents someone who is going to be particularly significant or influential in your life for the last half of August. Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or somebody that you see as the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords, swords is air energy, mental energy, belief system, thoughts, words, ideas, education, illumination, clarity, everything that goes on up in our heads. Because that affects the way that we relate and communicate our own words and ideas and how we think to the world at large. So the Queen of Swords, Queens and Kings represent individuals who have mastered their suit. So they've reached a place of self-discipline and balance and accountability for the character traits which are inherent to their suit. So the Queen of Swords is likely somebody quite intelligent, possibly well-educated. This is somebody who sees things clearly with a lot of insight, and it's taken a lot to get her to this point. She has a long road behind her, and that road, you know, it hasn't been easy. She's been through quite a bit. You know, she's been there, done that. All the t-shirts are hanging in her closet. She doesn't suffer fools very well. She has less patience for some things. She's all about getting right to the point. This is what's clear. This is what's direct. This is what I've seen. And based on my, you know, a lot of difficult experiences, she's come to this place now where she is willing and able to set her own emotions aside in order to look at the reality of something, what the facts are. This sword is kind of like the sword of truth. This light is the light of illumination, clarity, and wisdom and insight. This allows her to cut through any extraneous fantasy, illusions, or emotional stuff to actually see the truth of what is. If the Queen of Swords has a challenge, it is sometimes in, you know, trying not to be cynical and jaded and bitter because of a lot of the difficult experiences she's had. And in the reverse, the Queen of Swords can be quite a difficult person to deal with. In the upright position, I mean, she's showing up as a queen. It's a female energy, although it could be a male. So she does have more of that feminine, nurturing energy, but she's careful and she's cautious. I feel like this is someone prevalent for you. Secondarily, this could be the energy that you need to manifest for the last half of August in terms of being able to not forget your own emotions, but just set them aside to actually see something through the lens of what actually is, and not, kind of seeing it through rose-colored glasses or anything like that, because the Queen of Swords does not do that. In fact, she will sacrifice her own emotions, meaning that she will make difficult choices and acknowledge difficult truths, even if it's emotionally hard for her. So there's this sense of something being very, very toxic and negative, and really needing to take a step back from it and withdraw from it, at least temporarily, because we have the Devil and the Four of Swords. The Devil is a card of toxicity, of a complete lack of balance. It's a card that can show up for addictions, drugs, alcohol, sex, gambling, shopping, working, negative toxic relationships, codependent, codependent relationships which are unhealthy in their codependence. What it really represents is being chained to something, being bound or enslaved to something or someone. Can also represent mental health issues too. So what clarifies it is the Four of Swords, which is a card that often shows up when someone's feeling tired, worn out, exhausted, overwhelmed. They need to take a retreat. They need to take a step back, rest, recover, recuperate. Being exhausted, overwhelmed, stressed out is never a good place to make important decisions from. So this is about taking a step back temporarily. I say temporarily because this man, he's a soldier, a knight. He's taken off his helmet and his hand gauntlets, but he's still got the rest of his armor on. The swords imply the challenge, the struggle, the battle. Could also be his own thoughts and ideas. They're pointing down at him, so the situation is still there. His own sword, his own defense, is lying close by his hand should he need it, but for the time being, he's withdrawn because he needs to take a step back, rest, recover, perhaps get a different perspective or get some insight, but definitely needs to take better care of himself or herself, yourself, Virgo, because there's definitely a toxic situation you need to remove yourself from. Now, because this is a general reading, the nature of this toxicity might vary. It could be that you are in a negative toxic relationship with someone who is manifesting like the Queen of Swords. Because I see somebody holding on to something very tightly, because the Four of Pentacles represents somebody who's holding on very tightly. It can represent a lot of things, but in this reading, it's somebody who's holding on very tightly, not wanting to let go. Perhaps they've lost a lot in their life before. The Queen of Swords certainly has. And so it makes them cling very tightly to what they have because they're afraid of losing again. So it's a toxic sort of holding on to something. So for some of you, it could be that you are in a relationship with the Queen of Swords that is toxic and unhealthy. Showing up as a female, but could be a male too. Now, it could be that this relationship is toxic. It's obsessive. It's negative. It's got power control issues, or it's just unhealthy. And it could be that you're holding on, you're almost addicted or obsessed with this person, and you're holding on to them very tightly. It could be the other way around. It could be that she or he, whoever this Queen of Swords is, it's the reverse, that they're holding on to you far too tightly. Now, this could be in a romantic relationship. It could be in a parental relationship. It could be a variety of different relationships because it's a general reading. It could also be that this person it could be that there are some addictions or mental health issues here with you or with this other person. And again, there's a sense of holding on to it, which is the nature of addictions, because it's an obsession in one area. The Queen of Swords for some of you, because I feel like for many of you, the negative energy, this energy of toxic imbalance is about or around this Queen of Swords. For a smaller number of you, the Queen of Swords could be somebody that's trying to help you or the other person see the truth in a situation. So there's definitely this need to withdraw because balance is called for. You have both the Devil and Temperance. These are completely opposite ends of the spectrum. The Devil represents the toxicity, the lack of balance. Temperance represents the complete opposite. She represents the perfection of balance, being able to know who she is, where she is, grounded in her own truth of who she is and where she is and what her truth and reality is. Being in the middle of a seesaw or teeter-totter. The arms of that, when you're in the center, you're grounded and it's easier to keep your balance, which is what this card is about. The arms of the teeter-totter represent things you have no control over. Other people, other circumstances, sometimes your own emotions. They can go up and down, but if you're in the center, you may have to shift a little bit here and there, but as long as you stay in the center, you rarely ever lose your balance. So this is a card about being in balance. So somebody needs to take a step back to regain and retain their balance, because this is, it's a very toxic situation. And again, the toxicity could be in the nature of the relationship itself. It could be in actual, traditional addictions like drugs or alcohol, or a lifestyle. Let's clarify the Devil. The Three of Cups, often considered the party card. I never really like pulling it for the Devil because it can represent sometimes traditional like alcoholism, drug addiction, partying too much, just having that kind of lifestyle, maybe with other people who are also doing the same thing. Let's see what advice and messages, guidance from Spirit is for this, for Virgo, for the last half of August. The Eight of Swords, and right behind it is Strength. Okay, advice and guidance from Spirit. So the Devil represents being enslaved to something. Someone, whether it's you or the other person, is enslaved or bound, enslaved to something, someone, or a combination of that. Advice from Spirit is that you're not. You don't have to be. The Eight of Swords is a card that represents feeling trapped, feeling held hostage. There's a circle of swords surrounding this woman. She's on her knees, which implies a sense of, being a victim or vulnerability, powerlessness. She's chained up at the wrists. She's blindfolded. But it's somewhat illusionary energy, because remember, swords is about the way we think. This is your mind being your own worst enemy. She thinks that she's trapped, or she or he thinks that they're trapped, they're enslaved, but they're not. Or perhaps you think that you are and you're not. The gaps between these swords are plenty wide enough for her to walk away from and free herself. The wrists, which are binding her wrists, they're not attached to anything or anyone. She could twist her wrists, those chains would fall off, she could stand up on her own 2 feet, rip the blindfold off, take a look around and say, I'm out of here. I don't need to be in this place. I'm not saying it would be easy, but it's definitely possible. What's keeping you, this person, whoever it is, you or the other person, what's keeping them chained up, this imbalance, is in their heads. At least that's where it begins and ends, even if it's a physical addiction. Strength. Face your fears. Walk into what you're afraid of. Face your shadow self. And when we say shadow self, it represents the areas of ourselves that perhaps we don't like to look at. We don't want other people to look at them. Things that we think, ways we have of behaving, the pattern of choices we make, It's about facing those. It takes a great deal of strength, courage, wisdom, true humility. But those qualities are exactly what you gain more of by going through this process, which this woman has done. She has tamed them. She has faced them. And she is now striding forward. She is clearly in motion. Her head is up. She is striding forward courageously. Courage doesn't mean a lack of fear. Bravery doesn't represent a lack of fear. Quite the opposite. Courage and bravery is the mother sorry, reverse. Bravery. Bravery comes from being afraid of something. So in a way, fear is what births courage. Fear isn't, from a certain perspective, the mother of courage. Fear of something has to be present in order for you to summon up courage and bravery to deal with it. So fear is the mother of courage. Without fear, there wouldn't be any need to be to be brave, to be courageous. I don't know why my words keep stumbling over themselves today, Virgo. It's what you need to do to walk through this process to free yourself. It's what you're going to gain more of by going through this process. Whether it is you who are the one who's actually having this, negative, toxic obsession with, I don't know, drugs, alcohol, a way of life, or another person. It could be that you need to free yourself from this other person. It could be that you're involved in a relationship with someone, whether it's romantic or otherwise, who is an addict of some kind, and you just keep trying and trying and trying with them, and it's time maybe to step back and leave them to it for the time being. The Four of Swords represents temporary because he's still wearing, his armor. But you definitely need a break from this. You need to remove yourself from this. Okay, so Virgo, pretty powerful reading, really. That wraps up your reading for the remainder of August 2019. I hope that you were able to extract something from it that was useful to you. If this reading resonated for you, or if any of the readings resonate for you and you'd like to take a deeper look at it and set up a personal one-on-one reading with me, just click on the description link below for more info and contact details. You can email me directly at Maggie_McGuire@gmail.com. I would be most happy to work with you. I offer a lot of different types of readings: love and romance, relationship compatibility readings, career, work, and finance, investment readings, gift readings. Gift readings are great. I mean, there's nothing more personal and unique than a personal reading. It's specific to one person, so they make great gifts for people. And I also offer 6 and 12-month overviews, which take a look at what's coming in all the main areas of your life over the next 6 or 12 months, depending on how far ahead you want to look. Useful for planning and preparing, or just getting an idea of what life looks like for a little ways down the road. And a variety of other general readings where we can look at different things as well. So for those of you who are interested, I'd be happy to hear from you. And there's a few different things for you to choose from. I will see you all again, Virgo, in a couple of weeks for the September 2019 general readings. And until then, as always, I wish you much joy, love, peace, and blessings in your life. Take care. Bye-bye.